This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connected to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
It's Monday, September 21, and time for the Barbados Today evening update. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Sanitation workers at Westbury Cemetery were sent scampering for their lives this morning after two men brazenly shot at each other while running through the area. No one was injured in the shooting, which occurred just after 9 a.m. However, one of the bullets damaged a nearby house. One visibly shaken SSA female worker told Barbados Today that the incident forced over 30 of her colleagues to seek cover. Acting Police Public Relations Officer, Acting Station Sergeant Roland Cobbler says the incident is currently being investigated. Meantime, a probe is also on the way into the shooting of a 17-year-old boy on Saturday. According to lawmen, two unknown assailants shot the teenager in the buttocks while in Roebuck Street, St. Michael around 10:50 p.m. He was treated at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and discharged. New illicit drugs are creating challenges in the Caribbean and elsewhere, so says the head of the Supply and Reduction Section of the Inter-America Drug Abuse Control Commission. Speaking to reporters following the opening of a national seminar on illicit drug production, synthetic drugs and new psychoactive substances at the Crane this morning, Ziggy Malinsky says these potentially toxic drugs are causing control issues as they are not scheduled internationally or nationally.
The awareness and expertise in the officials that deal with these drugs. If you are not aware of these substances, you don't see them. And the systems for gathering data, both through the police and customs, but also through the household surveys and programs of that type, unless you ask the questions, you have no idea of the existence of these substances, and therefore you have a hard time developing policy and programs to deal with them. Traditionally, within the Caribbean, the focus has been on cocaine, heroin, and marijuana in various degrees, and of course alcohol. These substances are, for the most part, off the radar, but nonetheless exist. And with, as the AG said, with the different functions that take place, the influx of tourism, satisfying the tourist trade for drugs, all of those are going to provide opportunities for these drugs to leak into the community.
Industrial action affects another of the country's health institutions. Workers at the Winston Scott Polyclinic walked off the job this morning after the air conditioning units malfunctioned. However, they returned to work 3 hours later after being promised new units would be installed. Acting Deputy General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Delcia Burke, tells Barbados Today the employees protested due to the extremely hot conditions, but resumed their duties following a meeting with Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Tennyson Springer. She says the polyclinic is also in serious need of cleaning, which Springer has promised will be done by this weekend. Mop-up operations in the north of the island this afternoon after heavy rains resulted in severe flooding. Speightstown, Sixments and Whole Town were some of the areas affected and resulted in the early closure of some businesses and schools in the area. Simply not true. Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite is adamant that his office is yet to receive any information from the attorneys in the Shanique Myrie case. He was responding to an article in the Saturday Sun in which attorney Michelle Brown expressed her dissatisfaction with not receiving the $1 million in legal fees.
My instructions are that the attorney has not yet provided the information that we requested. And if she is saying that she's provided it to us, it's quite obvious then to everyone that we have not received it or that I'm lying, right? But I venture to say we have not received it. So wherever she is very, very simple. Provide us with the information so that we can begin looking at settling the matter. And indeed, if it is that she raised the matter with the press in Jamaica, again, very, very simple. Call us and say, why have you not responded to me? Why have you not responded to me? Since August last year, right? But the reality is that it does not bother me one way or the other, frankly, because I do not believe that we have a responsibility to chase them to settle their fees, right? But however, once they provide information to us and once they're willing to sit down and talk to us, I would want it settled.
In sports, former West Indies captain Richie Richardson will join the ICC's elite panel of amateur referees as a replacement for the retiring Roshan Mahanama. However, Richardson will not take up his new post until early next year, when he completes his current tenure as the manager of the West Indies team. The appointment means that Richardson will become the first West Indian to serve as a match referee in tests since Clive Lloyd, who retired in 2007. He also follows fellow West Indians Jackie Hendricks, Cammy Smith, Everton Wicks and Clyde Walcott, who all served as match referees in the past. Richardson says he's excited and honored to have been selected for one of the most important jobs in cricket.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
To news from the region now, Jamaica's bomb squad was called into action this morning after a bag of unknown items was thrown onto the premises of the United States Embassy, resulting in a lockdown. According to reports, a car slowed down near the embassy around 11 a.m. and a black bag was thrown onto the grounds. Over in Trinidad, Jack Warner's attorneys say they will challenge the Attorney General's decision to approve documents for his extradition. The U.S. wants to try the 72-year-old Warner, a former vice president of FIFA, on corruption charges. Warner, who denies the charges, and 13 other current and former FIFA officials were indicted in May. Warner's lawyers argued that despite assigning the authority to proceed, the state missed the original deadline. Internationally, Hungary's prime minister says Europe's borders are being threatened by migration, and Viktor Orbán is calling for a united stance to address the situation. The calls come as ministers from Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia met to discuss an EU proposal for quotas, which they oppose.
This is Austria's new border crossing, marked not by border posts but hedgerows and the detritus of humanitarian need. The lunchtime train from Hungary brought these new arrivals, another 1,300 for Austria's migrant camps. For the Abdurrahman family, this is the end of their journey. They plan to claim asylum here. 20,000 people arrived here over the weekend, but you wouldn't know it. Within a few hours, most have gone. Bus to camps around Vienna or piled into taxis, the fast-track option for those with the funds. Austria's local police chief told us this was now a humanitarian corridor. There were too many people to process, he said.
Thousands of people are crossing Europe's borders each day now. What was once a cause for panic has become, for them at least, a routine task. Individual countries are finding their own temporary solutions to this crisis, but there are still real divisions over any permanent EU plan.
And that's news and sports, but be sure to join us for another update tomorrow morning. Until then, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, our email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM for all the latest news and sports. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.